Yo, what up? Welcome to Arctic I'm Josie, and I'm here with what I read in October. I know it's been a few years, but I'm back and I have some cool books to share with you all. And I'll start it with a good fantasy one. So it's called Dragonfall, and it's by L.R. Lam. I liked her Seven Devils? Seven something, but this is the reason why I got this, and I had so much trouble with this book. I think it took me about 100 pages to really get into it, but after that happened, I was very happy. So I feel like the first part of it, when the two main characters, Everen and Arkady, were just doing their separate thing, it wasn't really vibing with me at all, and I was feeling quite frustrated. But after they met, it got really nice. I'm excited for the second one. It really is such a cool topic, the dragons. And in the acknowledgements, she said that she was inspired by Bern, which is one of my favorite dragon series ever. And I was like, oh, I need to reread that. So yes, basically it's a world where dragons are thought of as gods, but the dragons have been banished to another world. People don't know it, but they use some part of the dragon to have magic. And this last dragon, Evren, comes back to the humans world, and he wants to go back, and he wants to open a portal so that dragons come through. And there's Arkady, who just wants justice for his family, because there's a whole thing about that. It's I wouldn't say it's young adult, but it's young adultish. It's quite hot in some places. Like, the tension is really good between Evren and Arkady. But yes, I'm very excited to actually read the second part, which I didn't think I would at the beginning of this. So this is what I thought of Dragonfall, and because of all of that, I was debating between giving it 3 or 4 stars. I would have given it 3 stars at the beginning of the book, but I feel like it really picked up, and I'm giving it 4 stars. Second book I read, I don't have currently with me. I already managed to lend it to my friend, but it was a comic book, and it was a new take on Green Lantern, and it was written by N.K. Jemisin, who is one of my favorite fantasy authors right now, because of her books that have a really good representation of women of different races, of different ideas and dynamics between people. Like, it's really nice and refreshing. So I was very excited to check out this comic, her take on the Green Lantern trope. I'm not a big fan of comics, so I think this was the reason why I didn't actually like it that much. I really enjoyed the drawings by Jamal Campbell. Those were just breathtaking. The colors were great. I felt like I didn't really care about the plot. I just wanted to see the pictures. So I concentrated more on that, and the plot was happening somewhere back of my mind. So I don't know if it's because I'm not really a superhero comic lover, or I'm new to the genre, but I really just enjoyed the pictures a lot. But my friend who lent it for me, she really loved it. I know that she's a fan of comic books, so maybe it's just something that got lost in translation for me. But my verdict is 4 stars. Okay, let's get some history in. This is The Great Empires of Asia, edited by Jim Masalos, and with foreword by Jonathan Fenby. Why I'm mentioning the foreword? Because it was really good. Anyway, this book talks about empires in Asia, and every empire is written by a different person. So the empires included are the Mongols, the Ming from China, the Khmer, the Ottomans, the Safavids, the Mughals, and in Japan they focus on the Meiji Restoration. So that's the empires that are included. I was really excited about it because it had a lot of places that I'm not really that familiar with. Especially, I was interested in the Mongols and then the Khmer and Safavids. 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 Help. So the Mongols was the first part of this book, and I was terribly disappointed. It had so much just political stuff, like dates. There was no cultural impact, no interesting things. It was just like they did this, they weren't there, they did that, they were there, and it really read like a Wikipedia article. And it had a lot of repeats, in my opinion. At least it seemed to me like it had a lot of repeats. So I was thinking, like, did people edit it? Because it felt like some of the things could have been cut out or made better. And I actually went and saw that the author of it, I was thinking, like, oh, maybe it's not somebody who usually writes about Mongols. Nope. He has like, I think like 3 or 4 books about Mongols. So I was very confused. I think maybe it was just the time issue, or it wasn't that important for him to write about it to this compilation. But yeah, I didn't, I was very disappointed. But the second part was the Mings, that got a bit better, and then when they got to the Khmer, oh, that was so good, because the author really concentrated on the architecture, on the cultural impact of the empire. There was some politics, but a lot of it was just the interesting part, like what was the empire like, how did it function? And the most surprising one for me was the Ottomans, because I know Ottomans, they're in Europe, we teach them in school, they've been here for a while, they were here for a while, and I didn't expect it to be interesting, but again, the author made it so interesting. I learned a lot of new things that I can include in my lessons, and I was very happy with it. The Safavids were good, the Mughals were good, the Meiji was very, I'm quite familiar with the topic, but it was not badly done. I'm very surprised that they started with the Mongols, because I would have put that somewhere between. I'm still very interested in the history of Mongols, so if anybody has a good book about them that they can recommend, please leave it down. It's quite a mixed bag here because all of the authors were different, but I really liked the foreword, and the conclusion was quite good, but the foreword I think is the best part of this book. And I'm feeling that this book really is only 3 stars. Now, let's get to some crime, and this is from an author, basically the only author whom I read crime novels by, and it is Donna Leon. I love her. She has Inspector Brunetti, who is an inspector in Venice, and this book is so great. It has just the backdrop of Venice. All the food things are so good. Like every time Brunetti goes home to have a lunch or dinner, I'm just salivating, because the food that his wife makes is just... I love it that he's not like alcoholic, cynic, stuff like that. Like, he's a good family man and a good policeman. This book is called Blood from a Stone, and it follows the assassination of a street vendor who is an immigrant from Senegal, and it is... there are diamonds. There is a question at first before the diamonds, like, why was somebody so insignificant killed? Why would we care. So it kind of dealt with the idea of immigration and how the people who are making their living selling fake goods, like, should we care about them? Of course we should, but this is like the topic that was tackled here. Now I have to say that this book came out in 2006, and I feel right now this book is very much a product of its time. So right now, after we've had the immigration crisis from Africa, I feel like a lot of the things that people thought here, or what Donna Leon wrote, would be different because the situation is different. I'm not saying like it's bad or they shouldn't care about it, but I do feel very strongly that if this book was written right now, it would be completely different. I'm actually quite curious. Maybe she will tackle this problem as well. I think this is only the 13th of like 20 something books, 25 or something books. So maybe she does tackle it. I loved it. It's just a good, solid book if you are interested in food and Venice and crime. This doesn't try to be like ugly. It's good. Very strong, 4 stars. And now for the last book that I read in October, and that is Warehouse. Actually, I'm lying. I read most of this book in 2021, and I had, I would say, like 70 pages that I needed to finish now. And I remembered most of that, the most of the plot, the most of the things that were going on, because I kept thinking about it when I was in Japan. The premise of this book it's by Rob Hart, and the premise is that the cloud is basically Amazon. So the cloud is this huge company that has huge warehouses. It has company towns where people live and work for the company, and they have watches that keep track of them and give them stars for their work. The stars can go up and down, and you want to keep the stars up. And there are a couple of people who are here. So there's Paxton, who wants to meet the maker of the cloud and tell him some bad words because his product was not stolen, but the cloud made a similar product and got all the money for it. So Paxton wants kind of like a revenge. Then there's Zinnia, who is a corporate spy who is trying to find out what goes on in the cloud backrooms and how do they make their energy. And then there's Gibson, the maker of the cloud. And I would say that the strongest part of this book was the blog posts that the Gibson made. Oh, it was infuriating. He had such a savior complex. He was multi-billionaire who was writing like, oh, I just wanted people to have better jobs, to have better user experience. You read this and you're like, because he doesn't know whether normal person. He's so far removed from the world. I think those were really well done. I read later that Rob Hart has worked with people like that before. He has been a political advisor. So yeah, anyway, I would say that this book is, and the book references the 1984 and Fahrenheit 451. And I feel like this is a contemporary take on those topics. I don't think it really quite lands, or there was something that was annoying me throughout this book. Like, I didn't feel close to the characters. I felt like I didn't like the characters. There was just something that wasn't really clicking with me. It felt a bit far. Maybe that's good for this topic. Maybe that was the aim of the text. But it is It is good. Like I said, it's not as good as the previous books on this Big Brother topic, because those are classics, but I think this is pretty nice. And I think if you read it, you feel like this is not the future. This is what is happening right now. These problems are what we are facing. I think if you have time to pick it up, I think it went quite quick because it had three different points of views that changed, and there's a couple of like mysteries and couple of turns. But yes, like I said, I didn't forget about the plot for 2 years that I wasn't reading it, so I think there's something in there. I would like to give it 4.5 stars. So these five books I read in October, I feel like there wasn't anything particularly bad, but I also feel like I didn't find like a really cool book that I would suggest to people other than The Warehouse. But I have high hopes for my November reads, and hopefully I'll keep this up and hit my reading challenge for 2023. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, do leave them down. I hope you have a lovely autumn. Thank you for watching me, and bye!